Good evening, guys, and welcome to Storyteller's Corner. And we're off to Topsy Tickletown now, guys. When I point that way, it's Topsy Tickletown, which is due north. And tonight we've got a bumper pack of stories. We've got two stories in one. So first we're going to have the case of the missing yesterday. And then I promised Gigi I was going to introduce Richard, Batman Richard, as the ticklish giant. So join me for that, guys, now, and let's get on with it. Let's listen first to Topsy Tickletown chapter 47 and the case of the missing yesterday. I'll go watch out because the dogs are going to bark in a minute. The Balut man selling eggs, Balut, he's coming round. Every time he comes, the dogs go mad at the gate, so bear with me if you hear any dogs barking, guys. It won't last for long. So let's get into this, guy. Topsy Tickletown for chapter 47, the case of the missing yesterday. It started with the bread. Not disappearing bread, not floating bread. Just bread that no one remembered baking. Mrs. Crumbly at the bakery stared at her shelf. I always bake 12 loaves, she said, but today there are 13. I don't remember the 13th at all. Pennywig inspected the loaf. It tasted like yesterday, which was strange because yesterday had tasted like soup. Across town, similar things happened. Captain Wobbleboots found a boot he had already worn. Professor Fumblepops discovered notes in his handwriting about an experiment he hadn't done yet. Sir Stumblepants received an apology letter addressed to himself. Even the clock struck a minute that no one recalled living. Daddy Noodlewigs frowned thoughtfully. This isn't almost, she said, this is something else. They gathered at the red bench. The bench was warm, and that was new. Nearly arrived holding a calendar with an extra square. There's a day missing, they whispered. Not gone, just unlived. Professor Fumblepops gasped. A leftover timeline. The town was being haunted by yesterday that never finished happening. Shadows of half memories drifted through the streets. People waving at themselves, teacups calling without being poured, songs ending on notes no one sang. So Stumblepants looked at his letter. I apologise for something I never did, he said. Nanny Noodlewig smiled gently. Then perhaps, she said, you didn't need to. The red bench ummed louder. Yesterday wants to be remembered. But Topsy Tickletown had already moved on. The question was, should they go back and live the missing day, or let it fade forever? And they returned. What else might try to come with them? This goes to show, guys, sometimes the past doesn't haunt us because it hurt, but because it never got finished. And now we move on, where I've weaved Batman Richard into the story as a ticklish giant. So let's get into this one, guys. I'm going to hold on a minute because the dogs are going to bark in a minute. But this is Topsy Tickletown chapter 47 continued. This is about Richard the ticklish giant. So if I stop, guys, it's because the dogs are barking, because I don't want to interrupt this. Richard who laughed before he spoke. That's what the title is. Richard who laughed before he spoke. The first sign of Richard was giggling. Not loud giggling, but giggling that made the hills wobble. Captain Wobbleboots felt in his boots. Captain Wobbleboots felt it in his boots. Sir Stumblepants felt it in his apologies. The bakery windows rattled, and from beyond the eastern meadow something very large sneezed. Excuse me, said a voice echoing like a bell in a teacup. A shadow stretched across the town, then another. Then a very large finger appeared round the corner of the hill, and then there stood Richard. He was enormous, but softly shaped like a giant made of pillows and clouds. His hair stuck up in confused tufts. His eyes were kind. His feet had tiny socks on them, which made no sense at all. I'm terribly sorry, Richard boomed. I was trying not to laugh, but I think I sat on yesterday. Everyone stared. Oh, yesterday? whispered Mayor Jigglywick. Richard nodded, immediately giggling again. I didn't mean to. I was having a nap near the edge of time and it tickled my elbow, and he burst out into laughter so powerful that 3 pigeons fell over. Professor Fumblepop's eyes went wide. You've compressed a temporal memory by accident. Richard blinked. Is that bad? Danny Doodlewig walked forward and placed a hand on his toe. Did yesterday feel ticklish? Richard gasped. Yes, very, like a day that wanted to be remembered, but I didn't know how. The red bench glowed. Yesterday hadn't disappeared, it had been squished into a giggle. Richard had literally laughed a day out of existence. Sir Stumblepants looked up at the giant. So, the missing day is inside you? Richard thought very hard, then nodded slowly. I think so. It keeps trying to make me sneeze. The town fell silent. They weren't being haunted by a ghost, they were being haunted by a laugh. So, there you go, guys. Just goes to show sometimes things aren't lost. They're just stuck inside someone who doesn't know how important they are. So join me tomorrow, guys, Wednesday for Topsy Tickle Town chapter 48, The Day Inside the Giant, where Richard tried very hard not to move. Stay still, Batman. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Join me tomorrow then for chapter 48, The Day Inside the Giant. Let's see if Richard can stop giggling enough and hold still long enough to find out where the missing yesterday went to. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that visit to Topsy Tickle Town. Join me tomorrow. But in the morning, we've got our new story about Davy Toff and Eliza Finch, The Quiet Sea. And it's chapter 2. No, it's not. No, it's not. We've had that one already yesterday. That's where the missing yesterday went. No, it's chapter 3, The Quiet Sea, about Davy Toff and Eliza Finch. Chapter 3, Learning the Shape of Ohm. So let's see. Do you remember they had the first night afloat on their rusty old rust bucket of a ship in Portsmouth Harbour? So let's see how they get on tomorrow in chapter 3, Davy Toff and Eliza Finch, in the new story, The Quiet Sea, chapter 3. That rhymes, guys. There you go. And then we'll be going to Topsy Tickle Town Wednesday evening to find out what Richard's up to now with his giggling. The Day Inside the Giant. So let's see what that's all about, guys. But until then, thank you for joining me in Storyteller's Corner. I hope you enjoyed that. Especially Richard and Gigi. I hope you enjoyed your cameo performance in my story. Well, actually, no, you're staying in the story because you're in chapter 2. So watch this space and join me tomorrow. Come with me, Richard and Gigi, to Topsy Tickle Town tomorrow to find out more gigglish tales of Richard, Batman, giggling man. So there you go, guys. Take care now. Thank you for joining me. And have a lovely evening or a lovely morning wherever you are. Take care now, and God bless us all, guys, and take care. Bye bye. Join me for A Life on the Ocean Waves tomorrow with The Quiet Sea, the new story with Davy Toff and Eliza Finch. There you go, guys. Bye bye now.